Today we're talking about why the INFJ seems too intimate to other people. How often have you seen it? It's not like people come up to you and they say, oh, you're acting too intimate, or that went just a little bit too deep. You know it from their reaction, from their behavior. You think everything is great, then you talk to them, you of course want to go deeper because that's who you are. You're an INFJ, and it even seems you hit something in a positive way. You have a connection, things are like, this new thing, and it's all exciting, and before you know it, people get back. People move out of the way. It is too much for them and you don't know what happened. This is typical for INFJs, and today we're going to talk about why this is happening. Is this something that we just have to accept? Is it something that we should avoid? And how we can use this actually to live a fulfilled life where we feel like our need for deep connection is still taken care of. Before we get started, I want to remind you to download the 5 Pillars to an INFJ Epic Life poster if you haven't done this so far. It really helps you to kickstart this process of your INFJ Epic Life today. It's for free. The link is in the description. And if you want to go deeper and you say, now I'm ready to get some mentorship, I'm ready to change my life, work with me one-on-one, you also find everything you need to know down below. We as INFJs have a very big need for deep connection, and it's different than maybe for an INFP, because INFPs, they also crave deep connections very much, but they have such a rich emotional life and they're so embedded in that. Their first function is FI. That's their whole thing. They're really deep into this and they sort of invite people into their world. For us, it's all about others. If you think about songs that really made you feel something, so often it is from the perspective of somebody else. It is that you feel how somebody else is feeling. That's what makes us tick. That's what gives us this deep satisfaction of saying, okay, I use my NI, which is, my imagination, this vast space that I can create emotions in, that I can create stories in, that I can just create and pick up and absorb everything that's going around me. And then in combination with FE. FE is not just about harmony. It's not about making sure that other people feel at ease. It's just something we can do with the skill of FE. FE is first off about creating emotions in others. It's making them feel something. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you make them feel something great. It can be that you can make them feel something negative. It is about creating emotion, particularly for us INFJs, similar how it is for the ISFJ, because in both cases, FE is our second function. So it's the combination of these things. It's this vast space that you want to fill up that isn't satisfied with some superficial things. It's also not satisfied with, having some idea of, okay, that person is nice, it's all good. No, you crave to fill up that space. You crave to fill it up with emotion, with intensity. And with an intensity, you can make other people feel. That makes you feel excited about life. It gives you a motivation to move forward. And at the same time, you want to absorb that other person's reaction. These things are very common to us. It's something that we love so much. It's something that really makes us feel alive. And so when we meet somebody, what happens? Well, people are either boring to us. We feel like they are really superficial. We don't want to be friends with them. They don't intrigue us at all. But if we see that that person has some deep inner life, if we see that that person has some interesting story, maybe even we see that they have some inner trauma or some inner problem that we feel like we can see, we can connect with them on such a deep level, we could be able to heal that. What is our default reaction? We go straight there. We crave this. If we're not careful and we let loose, that's what happens. If we, for example, are at a party and we had a little bit more to drink, it's much more likely that we do something like this that might get us into trouble way more than, let's say, in a day-to-day scenario, because we're more controlled. We know that these things are not that socially accepted, and so that kind of holds us back. But every single time we feel like we can go this deep, it's like I found this one person in a million where I can let all of my needs, all of my desires, all of my mental complex ideas, I can put that onto them. I can actually make them feel better about their life. I can help them. We can connect and all is good. That's the theory. What happens though? It always comes down to the fact that you've seen a weakness of them that they didn't want to show you. It's a vulnerability that you caught without them actually having invited you to it. And so there is some feeling of betrayal. If they want it or not, it's just something that comes up. And it doesn't come up right away. They just at some point see, oh, that INFJ that I was talking to, let's not talk if they realize you're an INFJ or not, but that person that I was talking to, they're not who I thought they were. Because why were they able to open up so much with you? They were able to do this because you applied yourself to their world. You used your FE, your second function, to create an atmosphere where that person could be themselves. Very soon though, they recognize that this is a skill. It's something that you maybe did with great intentions. Maybe you did it carelessly just because it's fun and it's easy, but it's not who you constantly are. Because who you are constantly is that you can do this for this person, you can do this for that person, but the deeper you is actually more than that. And sooner or later, that person will recognize this. And very often, that's when it all spirals down. That's when people get really, really upset. And I want you to understand before we even talk about, oh, others take it like so personally and it really upsets them. I want you to be aware that we would act the same way. Like I've seen this now that I have contact with way more INFJs and also with ENFJs. Like, it happens very often with those mirror types as well. If people sort of push you on some things that you haven't built those boundaries around and you don't know that you are uncomfortable with this, it really is unsettling. So it's not something that only other people experience. It's just most of the time people cannot see that deep into you because, we're all about other people and what they're feeling, and we don't really show so much of ourselves. So it's hard for others to actually penetrate mentally like those areas and hit you somewhere where, okay, they went too far. They actually triggered something in me that makes me uncomfortable. That does not mean, of course, that if they would do that, it wouldn't be bad for us. It wouldn't be something that is uncomfortable. So what is the solution here? How do we deal with this? Do we just give up the fact that this is something we love so much? We don't have to. It's not necessary to do that. But the longer I've done this in my life, and I've experienced this throughout my life, like the oldest memory I have of this is probably when I was 12 years old. And I've had this like since then all the time. And all the times when I thought that's a person I can connect with, that's like a great moment. That's something that I want to hold on to. That was something that made me feel alive. It always backfired. Every single time I was able to build long-lasting relationships, friendships, anything of that matter, it always happened organically. It always happened at a point where I don't felt like, oh, I went really fast, really emotionally deep with that person. Actually, it was with people that I wasn't able to do this with. So it wasn't people who I saw have a certain weakness or a certain, thing that they're trying to hide or, like something like this, a vulnerability. We don't judge it necessarily, but we still are aware of it. And that's when we go deep. And it's not because we see them as victims or anything like this. It's just that vulnerabilities actually make you human. They make you feel, connected to people. They make you feel deeper and know what that person is all about. If you meet a person who's stable all the time, who doesn't show any signs of, hidden trauma or self-sabotaging behavior or some kind of, behavior that just shows you, oh, they're trying to hide the fact that they're insecure about something. If you don't see these things, you don't necessarily go deep into that in a way where you're not sharing so much about yourself, but you connect with them on their level. So that's the first thing to understand. And then to understand, okay, what is it I'm actually craving? What is it about that situation that makes me feel so alive? It's a deep connection. And it's a connection that happens in a place of authenticity. It happens from a place of being true and being real and feeling like you're living in this fake world where everybody pretends, and then there's this one person and they sort of are in on it with you. You both sort of look at it from an outside perspective and get it. You understand there's something not right about this, and we both see it. The problem with this is that this fake world is a fake world we have put ourselves in. We have told ourselves there is a part of me that I need to hide. because if I don't hide that part, I'm not going to fit in. I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be pushed out. And it's a very deep psychological thing that starts in childhood. So it's not that easily said of, okay, if I start acting a certain way, I will lose my job. People will push me out of my apartment. Nothing like that. It's much deeper than that. It's like saying, if I really act the way I am, nobody's going to love me. Nobody's going to like me. This is just unlovable. And it's something that we've been taught from an early age on. And it's so subtle and it's different for everybody. And for me, it was so much of my boldness. It was so much of me like living that kind of life that I'm living right now, that before I tapped into it felt like not cool at all. Like every single person that I would have known would have looked at me and said, oh, she's completely esoteric. She's out of her mind. Like, she's living this life that is out of the norm. But the point is that I have chosen those people around me to reflect my thoughts. And my thoughts were, the way I truly am isn't good enough, isn't okay enough. And because we're INFJs and because we can absorb so much from others and having the kind of functional stack that we have, it's very likely for us to pick up those beliefs specifically when we're younger. So I understand that this is a hard transition and it's not something that is easily done, but I hope that my channel and our community and boot camp and all of that I offer, and as I said, hopefully even more of the INFJ society helps you to get to a place where you say, the way I am is actually perfect. The way I am is exactly how I'm supposed to be, and I like myself being exactly that way. Because what happens once you start this process? I can guarantee you one thing: people won't think that you're going too deep. People won't think that you're being too intimate. Because again, the alt scenario, you feel like you're living in this fake world, you're pretending to be somebody, and then you meet somebody who you feel like, oh, they also have something hidden. They also have something that they don't feel like is good enough to bring outside. And that's where you connect with them on. And you tell them, come on, let's be free. But they're not ready to open up to that yet. But if you show up to the world and you say, from now on, I will act the way I am in front of everybody. I'm not going to use this maybe too deep thing on this one person. I'm going to be all about that every day, all the time. I will let that all out, and I will not feel like I'm too intense. I will not feel like, this is something I should hide, because I don't feel like I have a choice anymore. I want this. Like, there's this saying of, at some point you get to a place where staying small is more hurtful than the pain of, blossoming up and allowing yourself to do this. And two things happen. Number one, you get that need met. You get that need met of, I'm actually connecting with people really through authenticity all the time with everybody, and whoever doesn't want that, I let them go. I'm not going to be focused about that one person for whom I'm too deep or too intense or whatever it is, because I'm not thinking that they're my solution. I'm not thinking I need to find that one person who agrees with me that we live in a fake world. I just change my world. And that's a completely different mindset, because all the people that you've known all the time, they were used to that version of yourself who's hiding so much of themselves. Yeah, they will move out of the way. That will happen. You won't want to connect with them. They won't want to connect with you. But at the same time, people will see you for the first time. There will be people who see that authentic self of yours and say, yes, I want to connect with that. That's something that I see myself in. That's something that I understand. But up until this point, they cannot see that, because we're hiding it from 99% of the world, because we know once we let it out, it's not going to be accepted. So it's a different scenario to think, oh, there's a person who has a deep secret, and once I connect with them on that, they will allow me to be myself, and that's how I get my need met. I mean, think about it. If we hold this on all the time, we need that one person. It's like really intense. We need to let it all out. But if you say, if people believe me or not, if people connect with me or not, is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that I'm going to be myself. I'm going to let it out. And it's a completely different thing. So you say, I'm totally okay with people rejecting me. I'm totally fine with that. I'm just going to be me. And then people will actually see you and be able to connect with you. And nowadays, I don't feel this at all. I don't ever have a connection of people telling me I'm going too deep or doing something that makes them uncomfortable, because I, from the get-go, am the way I am. I'm not hiding it, I'm showing it in front of everybody, and people don't necessarily open up if they don't feel like it. I'm not pretending to be like that other person in order for them to feel okay. Because no matter how much I'm accommodating, I'm not giving up my core anymore. We as INFJs, we can hollow ourselves out completely, but in this case, there's a part of you that you say, I'm never giving up. I'm always going to be that. And that's where the magic happens. That's what the INFJ Epic Life is all about. That's how you actually start anchoring in the person that you want to be, and amazing things start to happen. So guys, know that this is not a life sentence. It's not something that you just have to accept, that you have to suffer, that you have to tell yourself, oh, I'm never going to feel this fulfilled. It just is a different order. You choose yourself over and over again, no matter what, and then you get to connect with people. Again, that doesn't mean you're not creating space for others. It just means you're not doing that at the expense of your authenticity all the time. Remember, if you haven't done this so far, download the poster, get some of those things rolling. Trust me, once you start those little steps, and they might seem superficial or, they're not going that deep into it, you will automatically push yourself to a direction that is more and more in alignment with the person you want to be. And if you want to go deeper and you say, I'm ready to take like a big step, change my life, we're starting a new year very soon. So now is a great time to say, okay, now is the time I want to change, and work with me one-on-one. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video why it's so hard for INFJs to make friends.